We're still here.
Talking about our next day.
Right, right. So, yesterday was January 28th, and our big event for the day was to go to this place called EcoTracks. And EcoTracks is ecology and tracks for train tracks. And so we'll describe all that in just a minute. But we had a really slow and easy morning, and didn't get out of here until around noon, with the idea that we had about a half-hour drive, and we were going to try to go to this place called EcoTracks, which we did go to. And I had remembered that we were supposed to be there at 1. Terry remembered that we were supposed to be there at 1:30. And she called to confirm, but I still wanted to be there at 1. And we got there at 1. And we didn't need to be there until 1:45. So we were ahead of anybody else that wanted to be there.
One of the few times in our lives.
Yeah.
But we were organized and there.
We want to try to average our times. So,
Oh, is that what you want
yeah,
to do?
so Debbie and Henry, we just made up for almost an hour of time that we've been late. Anyways, the whole idea of this EcoTracks was they used to have sugar plantations all along this coast. And to haul out the sugar cane, they had a small gauge, narrow gauge railroad. So this was 100 years ago, a little over 100 years ago. And so there's this narrow track or narrow gauge railroad that runs along there. And a lot of the track is gone, but they saved, let me just do a little bit.
On the tracks.
Yeah, they saved an 11-kilometer section, and that's what this group, or this company uses. It was founded by a New Zealand couple that really came up with an interesting strategy. Do you want to talk?
Yeah. So it's like a wooden sled on metal wheels. You call them little train wheels. I'm not sure what that is, but they're 8 inches in diameter. They run on the track. And then on either side of the sled, they have 2 old Schwinn bicycles. And so in the front is an area where they put a lithium battery to power the bikes, but you can also power the bikes by pedaling. So it's both, that you can push down on the throttle and go, and you can go faster if you're both pedaling. And that was pretty cool. That was fun. But you could pedal or not. And the rear wheel contact with the train is what drives the car. So we get into the reception room. They have us all sit down. We learn later that the reception room furniture, which looks like airline seats, is airline seats that were recovered from a movie set that was not too far away. And I don't remember the fake generators, but I guess that they were there, recovered from the movie set.
Yeah. So just to say, this whole place was set up around using salvaged materials. They used the train tracks that were already there. They used these old train wheels for carts that ran on the track. They used the locomotive shed, this old tin shed that we were in. They the bicycle frames that were on these carts were these recycled old Schwinn bicycle frames. The other parts of the movie set were used like as the check-in counter, and they had like these big generators right by it, but they weren't generators, they were just lookalikes from the movie set. So they salvaged everything to make this. It was really, really clever. Um, anyways, we
Yeah.
finally people started arriving. A couple from Vancouver, another couple from Australia, and then a family from Australia with 4 kids, and we got sat down for our historical and safety talk about a half hour after it was scheduled. And what happened right in the middle of
the
our safety talk?
Okay. One of the batteries, so the carts have been pushed out of the storage area, and we're out in the full sun. And one of the lithium batteries caught on fire, and it exploded. Stuff explodes, and somebody ran out and got the backpacks that were on top of the lithium battery, which might not have been such a bright idea, actually, because the lithium, we understand the lithium gas is toxic. But anyway, they weren't there long. They grabbed the stuff off. So and it was the couple with the 4 kids. Some of their stuff was burned, and then it kept exploding and exploding. And this is what lithium batteries do. They put water on it, and of course it didn't go out. And eventually it stopped exploding, and it wasn't on fire anymore. And they just continued to really put a lot of water on it and pulled it off the track.
Push them out.
So the family from Australia eventually went back home. They did not go on the trip. The mother in particular was pretty freaked out by the whole thing. And so that left 3 couples, us, a young couple from Vancouver, and another couple from Australia. So the 3 of us went out with our guide, Brittany, and we ended up doing the trip anyway. Do you want to say something about the trip, John?
Oh, well, Brittany was interesting. She was very flamboyant, and she had these hand signals that we were supposed to use. But these carts don't stop quickly, and so you need to maintain a safe distance and need to know what the people up in front of you are doing. And there's no brake lights or anything, and so if you need to slow down, you're supposed to. Oh, can we do this?
I think let me move so they can see better now.
Okay, this sort of emotion means that you're slowing down.
And she was proud of it. That's what she looked like, right? When she did it.
And then stopping was holding up your arm, which was fairly straightforward. So we took off, and every time we would come to an old junction or a bridge or something like that, we would have to slow down. And we had to stop periodically for things like cows and horses and dogs. But the route was very interesting because we weren't on a road. We were off the road by this old train track that had now grown up, and so we'd go through forest, we'd go near the beach, we'd go past villages and farms.
And the kids from the villages would come out and yell "Bula!"
Bula,
and
Bula.
wave. And
In case you haven't figured this out from our earlier ones, Bula means welcome,
Yeah,
hello.
hello.
Bula. Yeah, so the old sugar canes now had been slowly replaced by these forests and farms.
Do you want to say anything about the chief's house?
Oh, yeah. In the villages, we would notice that most of the construction was modern construction. By that I mean cinder block or similar materials.
Right,
with
and a metal roof.
a metal roof. But in each of the villages, there was a tall house or a tall building, one story, but a high peaked roof that was thatched and had a traditional shape to it. And that was the chief's house in each of the villages.
And so that was interesting to see. We have pictures of their original houses.
Yeah, from a distance.
Sure.
The ride after 11 kilometers ended at this beach, and we got off and walked down to the water and sat in the water. It was a beautiful spot. They provided us with a fruit plate and some coconut water in a coconut. And then we turned around and rode back. And it felt like things would have gone pretty well on the way back, but our cart came off the track at one point.
And we were the last cart, so we watched the other people pull away as our cart slowly stopped.
So they ended up moving the carts around, and we ended up with a different cart, and we're at the front.
Yeah, can I just say that as it turns out, as we watched the other carts go away, we thought, okay, well, hopefully they'll notice. And then, so we're there all alone, and then all of a sudden another cart comes from behind us, and it's the fellow at the beach who had brought the food out, and he has his 4 daughters on the sled with him. They're all looking at us, and he helped us get the cart back on the rails, and then we were off again. So
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, we had now moved to the second from the front, and somebody else, of course, was in back. And so we had a pretty uneventful and rapid ride back, except we noticed that the last cart didn't arrive with us. And it turns out that this Aussie couple, their batteries ran out, and so they had to pedal.
and it was hard pedaling.
Yeah, it was hard pedaling. Fortunately, they were young, but they pedaled their cart in. And then
we drove back to Tambua Sands through this town. I love the name of it, Sigatoka.
yes,
We drove back through Sigatoka, and we ate in Sigatoka at a restaurant that was number 2 on TripAdvisor, but it wasn't that great, except for the salt and pepper squid, which was exquisite.
yeah.
So that's the day, back to Tambua Sands, and off to bed.
Yeah. So,
Love you guys.
ta-ta.
Bye.
Bye.